Started again.
Cut people off straight away.
Last week when we went Terry Wogan dead, I don't think we can start anything like that already. But we have got a special guest.
We do, and for once it's not Liam.
Well, no, just take the guest away, and that's me in a nutshell, really. Isn't it? Yeah, you can have that. But it is my dad.
Welcome, Liam's dad.
Thank you. It's a real honour, and I genuinely mean this because I've been following the podcasts since you've started. I've been following the group. Obviously, Liam's been involved from the early days, and it's really nice to be invited. I do feel a little bit low down the list though because I've seen Tony Hadley on your Facebook and your social media pages.
Well, yes, I see what you're saying.
So I'm thinking maybe the budget's running out a little bit. However, I'm here, I'm grateful to be here, and I think everybody at the group is doing an absolutely fantastic job. I'm not just saying that because I'm here, but I genuinely think and see what you're doing, and it is just amazing.
Thank you.
Did you bring the phone book?
I couldn't find the phone book. No, there's a phone book anymore, mate.
Because my dad can make it sound like an erotic novel.
We have had this conversation, Carl, before.
Yes, so I believe.
You can. Before your first voice note came across my phone, I listened to it and I turned around and said to Liam, I said, that man could sing the phone book and make it interesting. So
the thing is, the phone book is a very interesting book. If we start with the letter A, I mean, how long have we got on that?
I've got 7 or 8 episodes, we carry on.
Adam Bull. Coventry, 642.
So it is.
241.
Oh, that's great. It sent me to sleep. What do you think sent me to sleep when I was a kid?
Well,
I always thought it was a hammer.
yeah.
Microwave. 30 seconds in the microwave, I'm gone. That was it.
That's the thing. When Liam was younger, if you misbehaved, I always threatened microwave.
Oh.
Is that because he's small enough to fit in it?
Yeah, until he was about
And
30.
still.
Until he was about 30, and I think he actually believed me.
And we're back to that child abuse episode.
It's like
That's why I'm mentally ill.
one way that my mum got us to try and stop asking for ice cream every time we heard the chimes, because we grew up as polos. She always used to say it's the wet fish man.
Honestly, I got one better than that. My dad used to tell me that if the ice cream man was playing music, he'd run out of ice cream.
Yeah, that's what I tell my kids. It doesn't work.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
It doesn't work now because they've realised I'm lying.
That's
They
because
make me spend a lot of money.
It's because your poker face is shit.
That's a good point. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's quite weird having my dad here.
Yeah,
It's
I think
nice.
Liam's been excited and looking forward to this for a couple of
I
weeks.
have,
Has he really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think watching my dad do the radio when I was young, being able to sit next to my dad and watch it, to now, being next to my dad recording an episode is quite special.
I like it. Circle's complete.
the tables have sort of turned though because.
No, we don't normally have a table in it. Oh, sorry.
In a
Sorry.
in a radio studio, going back to those early days when Liam used to come and see what I was doing and looking at us doing outside broadcasts and things, I sort of had control of it all. And at the moment, this is totally new ground for me, although I've done radio for something like, I'll be working it out, won't be coming up today, something like 44 years.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Actually sitting in a studio just talking with no script is a bit weird because
Yeah, but we struggle with reading, so we can't have
it all works out. But no, that's really nice what Liam said, that it's nice that we have sort of got that little following, and obviously people move on, don't they? You know, Liam moved out, he got married, he's got his own family.
I noticed there's a sense of excitement in your voice when you said Liam had moved out.
I can always remember, do you know what, I can still remember that day. When the first day he moved, and it was me and Debbie at home, and it was like, the house is so quiet. There's nobody shouting from upstairs on his Xbox.
This was last week.
Yeah, you have.
So, it really weird. But like I say, Liam's moved on. So we tend not to be able to do things as often as we used to. And I've never really said this, but I think that's partly the reason why we didn't realise how Liam was struggling with mental health issues, because you think, oh, he's just having a bad day. And I think it's quite difficult for family members who don't really understand what's going on. They don't understand well, is it an illness? Is that perhaps the right word, the wrong word? I don't know. But they don't understand those circumstances.
Yeah.
And when they do, when they start to get a bit of an inkling, I don't think they understand how to deal with it.
No.
They can't, I'll pull yourself together, you'll be okay tonight, right? Do this, do that. And it doesn't work. And I've seen through this group how Liam has progressed. There's still a little bit of the antisocial moments we get.
Yeah, we get that.
But,
Wish we had more.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
but it has started to make a difference. So getting the word out there, as I know that's what that's the aim of the group, getting the word out there, and by way of this podcast, if it gets to more people, and they can share their experiences, that's it. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
And by listening to the podcasts that have gone before me on this one, I think it also helps people who don't understand the problems. It gives them a little bit of an insight, and it does help.
The plan's working, boys. That was always the intention. That was, we spoke about it at social nights and gatherings and bits and pieces. Right. We need to get people to come along, and we get that there's the stigma and there's I don't want to go and speak to a bunch of strangers. I don't know about things that I don't really want to talk about. I mean, like, how do we get people more involved and understand that when we go, we literally have a 10-minute sensible conversation followed by 3 hours of bollocks. This is exactly what we want to do. And, that's all we do. We've said it a million times, haven't we? We're not psychologists, we're not counsellors, we're not anybody trained in anything particular. But each of us and everybody else in the group has had life experience with different stuff. And what works for you might not work for somebody else, but if you came along and picked the brains of 4 or 5 other people there, it gives you some more tools to deal with stuff.
Yeah.
So that's all we wanted to do. Is we're not sitting in a cold, dark room reminiscing and dragging out everything from the past. However, get it off your chest and just talking about it, massive difference.
But to me, that is so difficult. If I think back to when I was younger, if I was fortunate that I didn't and haven't, well, I say I haven't, but there have been a few times where things have gone a bit, shall we say, tits up in life, and a little bit of pressure, which I'll mention that a little bit later on if we may.
Absolutely.
But when I was younger, there is no way that I would have gone to my mum or dad and said, look, I'm having some problems, I can't cope with this. There's just no way I would have done it, because I think particularly years ago, it was perhaps harder because people didn't recognise mental health as such a big thing. Maybe it's the world we live in today, everything's fast paced, everything's 100 miles an hour all the time. There's lots of expectations of people. And I think that makes it more difficult, that brings it more to light. But, in those days when I was sort of 20, 30, if I'd have had issues, I don't know where I would have gone to.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know where I would have gone to, because to me, well, I'm feeling a bit rough maybe, feeling a bit, I don't know what's going on. Is it a job for the doctors, or is it just me being a bit off,
Yeah.
I can remember one incident, and again, I don't think perhaps will know this story, but many years ago, if I'm waffling on, by the way.
No, just carry on.
Please
It makes a difference listening to me, to be fair.
I'm a man of few words. When I was probably mid-30s, I had a job in an office. I was an office manager at a company in Birmingham. And the pressure there really got to me. It was really busy. You've got pressure from above, you've got pressure from the staff, you've got pressure from the customers. I was taking work home with me, and that really got to me. And I actually had a bout of anxiety. Well, I went to the doctors. I did go to the doctors because I was losing my temper. The pinnacle of that was, my little office was outside the managing director's corridor And there was one particular day when everything just really, I could feel like a pressure is the best way I could describe it, a pressure building up on me. And I literally got out of my desk, I walked across the office, and I literally banged all the filing cabinets, thumping them really hard, dented a couple of them, kicked a bucket, the bucket went up in the air, bang, and everyone was going, what was Carl doing? Because I'm normally really laid back and really calm. And didn't realise what was going on. I just didn't realise what was going on. And anyway, the managing director came out of his office, he went to my boss and said, I think we need to have a word with Carl, he seems to be under a bit of pressure. Yeah. Anyway, my boss, who was actually a good friend as well, he said, I think you need to go and see the doctor. So I went to the doctor and he said, oh, you've got a bit of anxiety. And but it was, and I can remember his terms to this day, a bit of anxiety. No tablets, nothing, no medication.
You'll be all right.
Just have a few days off work, and you'll be okay. And that was the only. But I managed to deal with it because I went back and everything had sort of calmed down a bit. But other people in that situation could have really spiraled down really quickly.
Yeah.
So it can happen to the most calmest people. You didn't know that, did you?
Didn't.
Well, no.
You know, so
There we are. You see. So there's, you know, it's if anybody who's listening to our podcast today, if you feel that you're dealing with stuff, as I thought I was, albeit it was a long time ago, and you're clearly not, you just got to get out there and try and get some help.
Yeah.
And that's what we try and say every episode, don't we? If you're not feeling yourself, talk to your friends, talk to your family. Because for 2-3 years, I didn't really talk to your mum. I'll be honest. I kept it in.
Your mum often says to me, Liam's never talked to me about it. He talks to you more about it. When we used to have our little afternoons out, and you tell me little snippets, but you never really give me the full picture. But again, I think that's difficult because it's parent to son. You know, I don't know.
I agree with that.
It's sometimes perhaps easier to talk to a stranger. I know we're not. Well, I'm a bit of a stranger to you two, but I actually feel like we've been.
And that's, you've been here for what, half an hour, and you've already comfortable, and
that's
what we do in a social night. We talk 10 minutes about sensible, and then these two will just sit at the pub and take the piss. But standard practice, but it works.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, the conversation will flow.
I think you're right, but it is easy. Although, like we said, it's that stigma of talking to people you don't know. There's no barrier there. There's no, I can't tell you this because you might come back at me at some point. You might never see that person ever again. So you can sometimes take that little bit off and say, well, I can talk to you because I don't know you from Adam. I might never see you again. Blah, this is what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
Whereas opposed to like a family member, that's always there in the background. If there's something cracking off or you're having a heated conversation and you're always thinking, shit, is that going to come back and bite me in the arse at some point because we've spoken about it. And it's all that trust issue, and it's the having that confidence to just and empty everything out.
Let it all out.
Yeah. I mean we've said it, haven't we? I mean, both Liam and Will are the same. You know, you can see the difference a million times over in the space of months in how they both carry themselves now, as opposed to when it all first started. I mean, Liam did the first walk with his hood up and didn't say boo to a goose all around, and we've said it before, we can't show him up now. but that's what we want, and that's as simple as it is. You know, we keep saying it is that simple. You just got to speak, and just once you've done it the first time, it just gets easier and easier.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing I love as well about having a WhatsApp group, is it sets up that thing to sort of get to know people before you meet them, but not so much on a level that you're very personally connected to them. So then when you finally meet them at a social, you can go, okay, I'm comfortable enough to sit with you and to talk with you, but you're not complete strangers, so I'm not going to think, oh, I can't tell you anything. I know you a little bit now, I know you've struggled, let's talk about it. But then it's like they're not so close that they feel, again, uncomfortable to share it. So it's that nice little a nice bit of balance there, I think.
It's almost like you broke that little barrier to talk to them first, to get to know them
Yeah.
slightly, so you know where you can push it, where you
Exactly,
can't. No, you can know where to take the conversation. Is not to go too hard too soon, or you can go, okay, I know they're struggling because the way they're talking on WhatsApp, to the way they're talking now, something's not
Yeah.
right. And then you can go in more depth and go, right, okay, what's the matter?
Exactly.
Yeah. I like the playing the game of Guess Who. That's how I refer to it. As when you got your WhatsApp group and you've got all these names and telephone numbers and they message you, and then the conversations go on for hours and hours sometimes, and you never met the person. And then Saturday just gone, one of the guys that's been talking in the WhatsApp group came for the breakfast, and it's like, oh, now I can put the names to the face. And you're almost like knocking faces down to go with names as you go along. But yeah, and we've said it again. It's sometimes it's as difficult as it is. While you've got that barrier of a phone screen or a keyboard, you can let your guard down a little bit, because again, you've not met these people, they don't know who you are. You can say what you want, and then you can almost take a step back and leave it, and then revisit it again days or weeks later and come back into the conversation. I think it's working. I think we're doing the right thing.
Oh yeah, massively. I mean, like you said, you can say a little bit to begin with and then come back to it at a later point. I mean, that's exactly what I did. So every now and then I might say, oh, just feeling a bit rubbish today. Don't know why, and I'd leave it at that. And then other people would start talking, and then I know, like a few weeks later, I was like, trauma dump, here's everything that happened this year.
He's a full-on download.
He's gone for it, isn't
Here's the memo. Here's why I've actually been feeling shit for these past few weeks. And then it's just like, and then obviously the anxiety is sending it and waiting for everyone's reactions to it. It's just insane. But then sort of the weeks and months that have now come after that, I'm like, oh my God, why was I so scared to say that?
But at that time, you thought, sending that message, you think, oh, then you start shaking and going,
Exactly, yeah.
But now you just like, you've got no, you don't question it, you just go, having a really shit day, blah blah blah, send. But like months ago, you would have gone, half an hour you would have been going, do I press, done, now you just,
And I'm like, having a shit day, you can all fuck off.
Unless you're being polite.
But that's really good, isn't it? The fact that you all in the group get on and feel comfortable in actually.
Well, you want to see what we call each other on a daily basis.
I can imagine I've heard the podcast. It's very clean today. The language has been very.
We've been told we have to be on our best behaviour.
No, not
We
at
feel
all.
professional.
Well, we don't have to.
It's the table.
Alright. Okay, cunt. There we go. I've dropped one in. We're alright.
He's too so close to his quota.
No, he's gone past it.
I've gone over it.
We have to start charging him.
Oh, not again.
No, but I think, going back to what you were saying earlier about when you struggled with things in the past, and I think what we're trying to get past is that instant sort of, if I say something, I'm going to be judged. And I think that's what the group is good at. There's no, oh, okay, no, you're right messed up, or you've got this, you need to go somewhere else. There's none of that.
It's roll your sleeves up, how can we help?
Yeah,
What can we do?
okay,
Do you
I've
need a
been through
phone
that,
call?
this is what I did, try this mate. And that's how the conversation starts, doesn't it? That's how they
Yeah.
go. And there's no, oh, fucking hell, I'm not talking to you, I'm going to block you, or I'm not going to get involved. Nobody in that group, when there's a conversation flowing, and like you say, they go for hours, everybody at some point gets involved in it, which is just, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love some parts of it.
Some parts are good and some
I
parts
got a bit narc last night.
That's a different
That's a
episode.
different episode.
I was going to say, I was feeling rage coming through my phone, and I was like, for once it's not coming from me. This is
My phone
great.
got very hot all of a sudden. I went, I need to put this down. It's about to explode.
And then he realised he had a picture of me on there, and that's why it got so
I'll
hot.
find an OnlyFans, so we're alright. Oh, sorry, I've let this cat out of the bag.
How many credits have you used to it?
Used all my free ones up,
He's
so.
actually in debt.
I haven't told Bridget I've used the credit card. But no, I remember opening up to Mum and Dad finally when I was really, really struggling. Because I think we just lost Grandad. And I remember the phone call. I will never forget that phone call. I was about to go back to work one night. My dad rang me and said, he just said, I remember it, he just went, oh, your granddad's died. And I went, what? He just said it so normal, as if it was a normal conversation. He just went, your granddad's died. I went, okay. I went, shit. And then, but your brain doesn't process. You sort of stand and you go, oh, fuck, shit. And then all of a sudden, it hit me. And I went, fuck, because I had a meter at home. And I went, fuck, shit, Bridget's at work. Oh, I need the number for the hospital. I started panicking. That's when the panic attack set in. You don't know what to do. I rang Bridget, she come home, and then I just went into absolute pieces. But I felt at that moment, if I didn't, that's when mental health for me just completely went fucking nosedive, and I was terrible. I mean, I was angry all the time, didn't want to see my parents, didn't want to talk to my kids, didn't want to talk to my wife. If anyone mentioned my granddad's name, that was it, I was gone.
Yeah.
It was probably the worst, 2-3 years of my life.
I think that was quite a pivotal moment for all of us, really, in the family, because he was quite a larger-than-life character, to say the least, and he was sort of at the top of the family tree, you know. And as things like this happen, you suddenly realise that actually it's me now who's like at the top of the family tree, and it makes me feel like, oh, I need to be a bit more responsible than I am. But there we are. But I can always remember when you said there, when your nan phoned me and said, I'm just trying to think, I wasn't at work because I'd been furloughed from work, and I was stressing about, of all things, a car seat, because we've got to get a car seat for the
Car seats.
which is a subject in itself. Trying to fit a car seat in a car is like you need an O level.
Yeah.
Especially one big enough for Liam.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I've got to find a bed big enough for me, mate.
Listen, we can squash him in, it's not a problem.
Got to be a microwave.
Just put him in a microwave.
The little Satigo scone was a bit of a challenge because that was small, but you know, now the big one there. Anyway, so I was stressing about this car seat, and I don't know why this sticks out in my mind, but it does. Stressing about this car seat. Debbie had just come home from work, and the phone went, and it was like, oh, flipping out, you know, somebody wants me, somebody got trying to flog me some double glazing or something, or life insurance.
Or a new car seat.
Car seat, yeah, or sell me another car seat, possibly, who knows. And the phone, okay, and it's my mother-in-law, and she says, Carl, she said, I could thought, oh, she's a bit upset, something's obviously wrong. And she said something along the lines of, you'll have to come up, Cliff's dead. And it was like, okay then, I'll be up as quick as I can. Put the phone down. I said, we've got to go up to your mum's. She said, what did she say? And I couldn't, like Liam, I couldn't process it at all. And then, obviously, we found out what had gone on. Then I had to make a phone call to Liam. And how do you actually tell somebody who you're that close to what happens?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in a job like yourselves in police, to go to somebody and say, this has happened, you know, there's been a terrible accident, I don't know how you would do that. I just don't know how you could do that, and then deal with it. So that was, and that, on top of the little issues that had happened before, I think, looking back, I can now see that was the big turning point for Liam. Yeah. And of course, everybody has these little, well, I won't say little, but these big things that happen in life, these life-changing events. Everything's all plodding along quite happily. Yeah. And then that one thing could happen, or it could be several little things that could all happen, and boom, your world has just gone upside down.
Yep.
And down the other side of the hill.
Yeah.
And then it's how you deal with it.
I think it's almost like trying to learn how to walk again. It's a completely new way of life that obviously is something you've not experienced at all. So it's like, okay, now I have to figure out how am I going to live my life now without that certain person in my life again. And it's really weird because you then start to realise what little routines and things that you did, that all of a sudden it's like, oh, okay, so now my Fridays are free again, and it just feels wrong.
Yeah.
So I know it's always different processing various family members that do die. And I know years ago when my dad's mum passed away, it was very much a phone call. My mum came in and told me, I was very young, and I was like, oh, okay, like, I understand what you just told me, but again, it's not.
Doesn't actually.
Something doesn't click.
And then it didn't quite register until the funeral itself, and then that's when the penny drops, and you're like, oh shit, like they are not coming back. But then with my granny, I felt that a lot harder. I was at the hospital with her when she was in there, and even though it was still fairly sudden, it was like that period of acceptance, saying, okay, I know it's going to happen. You can just tell. And then obviously on the day when we saw her, so it was like I didn't have that doubt. It was definitely in there. I processed it fairly well. but then it just spiraled me afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's such a strange thing as well. Like, you feel like it's the only. I always say death is the only certainty in life. It happens to us all. It's what we all share in common. And while it is sad, it's such a strange concept because you just think, I don't want to tell my family about it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And yet it's something that you're all feeling as well, especially when it's so recent. You're like, I don't want to tell them that I really miss my great neighbour, even though like we all do. It just feels weird. And I don't understand why, but it just is.
Yeah.
And what gets me is the people that think that, oh, well, so your relatives died on a Friday, right, we've got a couple of weeks of mourning, get over it, and then you crack on and get on
Back
with
to
things.
normal. Yeah. It isn't.
Grief just takes so long and can come out later, come out earlier, last longer. There's no hard and fast rules with it. And I think people get sort of transfixed on the idea that, right, I've dealt with it now, I can move on. And then, my dad passed away. I had a similar phone call from my stepmom. Your dad passed away, and she was that upset she had to put the phone down. I did the same. I'm like, put the phone down.
Shit,
The
yeah.
fuck did I just hear? And you're sort of like, and it takes you a couple of minutes to process it.
You go, am I sleeping? Am I awake? What's going on? You're like,
And it's just surreal. And then I found myself, I went back to work because I was sort of like, I'd rather be at work, concentrate on what I'm doing, and just deal with the bits and pieces afterwards. And it's probably 6 months later before I sort of sat down and thought,
bollocks.
probably should have taken some time off for that, because then all of a sudden it hits you, you know. But then everybody's different, and that's what makes each person individual, isn't it? You know, and that's what we've got to be mindful of whenever we're dealing with anybody that's carrying that around.
Oh yeah, I think there's a video I saw on Facebook. It's one of those. It's like grief never goes away, and in this video it was saying the grief, it doesn't grow, it doesn't shrink, it stays exactly the same size. It's like, imagine this massive ball that's in a box. You know, it's got barely any wiggle room, so pretty much all the time it's hitting the sides of this box, and that when it hits the sides, that's when you feel it. The ball doesn't shrink over time, but the box grows.
It's bigger, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's still in there, still exactly the same. But it's only every now and then it will hit the side and you'll go, oh.
It's still going to hit you in the same way when it does catch up with you.
Yeah, but it just doesn't happen as often. You just go around it rather than that grief going away.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, I think grief is a massive impact on mental health without people
Oh,
realising.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Whether it's, you know, family members, pets, friends, just it could be anyone, someone that they work with, and it just hits you, and then it goes away for a while, and you think, okay,
You've dealt with it.
I can
You feel back to yourself.
and you're like, I'll reminisce, I'll talk about it, I'm fine. But then one evening or one morning, you wake up, you go, ooh.
Yeah.
There's that feeling again.
Yeah.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
And it's surreal, but I think, I know for me it was a massive impact on my mental health. And I think obviously talking about it makes it that little bit better. Still hurts, but I've got the coping mechanisms now to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess some people don't really talk about it. They just bottle it up and don't get it out, and that would be a problem.
Yeah.
I would guess.
Yeah, because then, like you say, you've got that issue, and then 6 months down the line something else happens, that's another issue, and then so on and so forth.
build
And
up,
if you're
build
not
up.
dealing with stuff that's gone on, it's just a mountain that you're going to be facing when it does
Yeah.
happen to come out.
I think
And
that
then-
the mind can probably only cope
Yes.
with so much, and
Yeah.
you get to a point where, hang on, I'm full now, that's it. And that's when you start to hit problems. So
Yeah.
the importance is to try and deal with stuff. Easier said than done, I know, but try and deal with stuff as you're going along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's too easy to file it in the too difficult to deal with box. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think you said it a couple of episodes ago, you know, it's almost like your head has a complete reset at some point. I've taken too much, I need to just stop. And then that's when everything catches up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And, and as we said on, was it last week, the emotions episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, sit and cry. Just do what is natural and normal, you know, deal with it, process it, and start to organise things in your head so that nothing else comes along that throws you off kilter as well.
Yeah.
Hard hitting stuff.
Oh yeah, massively so. I mean,
We have got heavy deep today, haven't we?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's very important to talk about, especially when it does come to things like grief. I don't know how we. I mean, it's one of those things that we didn't mean to get onto it, but we did. I know for me, like obviously after my granny died, it was massive. But then it was like every other family member then started to die, and it was getting to the point now where we keep seeing obviously all our family members at the funeral, And he'd be like, well, okay, we'll see you at the next one then.
Yeah.
It's almost like we should have a bouquet of flowers that we throw backwards and whoever catches it is next.
Yeah.
It's like, you know.
Oh, the deli counter answer. And 67.
Damn it!
Not that Google account again, mate. For fuck's sake. Please. We're all in it now, we're alright.
Yeah, it's like you said, but when there's so much going on and like your mind just can't take any more. I mean, it's like using Internet Explorer or having too many tabs open. It's just, you just lag in.
Yes.
So then all of a sudden you think, okay, I'm alright. No, you're still loading, still getting
Yeah.
there. And all of a sudden, you know, error.
Yeah. Yeah. This is going to
Grief
catch
can
you in a minute.
also bring the family closer. Exactly what I found with my parents, my nan, Bridget, the kids. Something like that to happen to my granddad, probably, like my dad said, the head of the family. To all of a sudden go, and you sort of think, okay, we need to reshuffle things now. Obviously my dad looks after us all, make sure we're alright. Then you sort of
That's
go,
a lot of work.
fucking is for me, Jesus Christ, look after me. Look, you see he's nodding profusely, he's like, fucking yeah. Glad he's
Give
found
that man another beer.
Glad you found this group now, and they're your fucking problem now. But it makes you communicate more and check in on them more and going, are you okay today? How are you doing? And I think sometimes to bring the family close together, you need to go through a life event.
Yeah.
To reevaluate and go, actually, yeah, we've had an argument, I've not spoken to them for a couple of years, maybe it's time just to send that text. Even if you don't get a reply, you've done it.
You've done it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And to rekindle something, you can go, actually, let's start talking.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, okay, there we go again.
No, you're right. And yeah, like you say, as much as it can be divisive, can't it? Because the fallouts that come following a family loss are horrendous. But at the same time, it's christenings, funerals, weddings that bring families together normally, and that's the point, isn't it? And like you say, that's the point to touch base with people and just check in and just, are you okay?
Yeah.
Twice.
Always ask twice.
Always ask twice.
Never once.
That's our secondary slogan. Always ask twice.
Yeah. Still waiting for the See You Next Tuesday t-shirt.
See, I don't do that. I don't do the asking twice bit, generally, do I?
Try it.
I will try that more often, and I have picked that up from the podcasts, and I should do that, but I don't, and I should do, really.
You will probably get more of a response from people if you ask them to, because the first one they'll always go, nah, I'm fine, yeah, don't worry about me.
Yeah.
No, oh, mate, are you, actually, no, the last couple of days my mood's been a bit low. Come on, cup of tea, let's go.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
bullshit,
say,
just talk to me.
I'm still guilty of doing the I'm fine response.
Oh, good, yeah.
Even after
I'll
all of
still do
this,
it now.
it's like someone else, oh, how you did, like, if I have to go into work for one reason or another while I'm off, like for a meeting or something, oh, how are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm alive.
Breathe
That's
in.
what's like,
Yeah.
Woke up, breathe in, it's all good.
My actual response is, I'm here.
Turn up.
that's like, I just, although I even said it to one of the top bosses, like, oh, how are you doing? I was like, I'm alive, I'm still deciding whether that's good or bad yet, but... And they just sort of look at me going,
Sorry,
"Ah,"
listeners.
as if they're about
Sorry,
to censure
everyone.
me. I'm like, I don't actually think that was a joke. That was a really twisted joke. It was a joke.
Alarm bells start ringing.
Please don't detain me.
But this is a problem, isn't it? Because you ask somebody if they're okay, typical in the workplace, you ask somebody if they're okay, you're expecting them to say, yes, fine, how are you? That's a sort of standard reversed answer. And then if somebody does suddenly say, oh no, my leg's hurting, I've got this, and I've got, oh. And then it's like, oh.
Shit, what do I do with it
No,
now?
what do I do?
I wanted them to say, yeah, I'm fine. Alex, now
Yeah.
I'm turning
It's
into
like-
a doctor.
It's like one co-worker you're talking to, you passionate, oh, you're alright. They go, oh, actually, oh.
I don't have to say hello to them. Alex.
Thanks for asking. Oh,
Yeah.
how many have you got?
Start a timer.
It is quite difficult though, I think, because generally if somebody asks me if I'm okay, I would say, yeah, I'm fine, thank you, because it's just like a standard reply.
Yeah.
You don't tend to go into all the, I'm having terrible trouble with my neighbours and my legs playing up, and I've got my ears hurting and so.
Yeah.
And I can be a bit of a hypochondriac. I can't even say it. I should be able to say that word, really.
That's where he gets it from.
We found it out. Alex.
My nose is running, I think my brain's leaking.
Got all anonymous.
No, that was him. That wasn't me.
Yeah, mine was on purpose.
Fair point. Give you that.
But it is right, and a part of, as much as we're trying to spread the word about it's important to talk, I think we're also trying to, get the importance across to your family members to understand that it's important sometimes to listen, and just take it in for 10 minutes. As much as you think, what's he going on about now? That 10 minutes could be massive. Whether or not you know how to deal with it, or whether you know what you should be doing, that matters not. It's just the sitting and listening.
Listening and letting back to the
and
person.
Just letting them vent. And okay, right, what can we do about it? And it's as simple as that sometimes. What can we do about it? Rather than you feeling like, oh shit, I'm on my own with this. Somebody else is now off. What can we do about it?
Yeah.
It's easy, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's easy to say.
Also, I sometimes feel it's when you ask that question, what can I do to help? What can we do to help? And then sometimes I'll respond with nothing. I just wanted to talk about it. That's all the help I needed.
Yeah.
So it's not being afraid to ask that. What can we do to help? Because sometimes there isn't anything that you can or need to do, and it is just being there for that person so they know that they've got you. And if needs be, they can call you again or just have a quick chat with you. Say, yeah, just a bit of a shit day. I'm all right now, but that's it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all it takes.
Easy as that.
Love spuds.
I knew it.
Oh, tell you what, Carl. Have you got a love? What's grabbed your love spur?
Guests first. Where are your manners, Liam?
You should have taught me better than this. Sorry.
Love spuds. Now, listen. When I was the first question I asked Liam when I was invited to come on this podcast, I said, "Do we have a script?" No, he said. I thought, okay.
Probably just as well.
He said, "But I've got some homework for you. You need to get some love spuds." So
that's what he's going to do.
I've got one less now, so we're all right.
So the thing is, it's been quite a cold day today, so my love spuds are a little bit shriveled. However, being an older person, and older people have lots of things to moan and whinge about and get on the soapboxes about, don't they? So I was thinking, wow, there's loads. What can I, But the biggest one to me is technology. As Lynn will bail me out for.
Somewhere else.
There's a common denominator here, boys, isn't there?
It obviously runs down in the family trait here. But I'll give you an example. Anything that I do with technology tends to go tits up, big time. Not just tits up, but tits up on a scale of 100 out of 10.
Katie Price tits up.
So, yes, we're talking Katie Price and not Kylie Minogue. So the thing is,
good comparison.
That's a great one, isn't it?
at the moment, don't tell your mother. Don't let her listen to this episode. Right. So technology. This is a subject in itself. I shall try and summarise it. An example. I bought a printer a few weeks back. Should have been 10-15 minutes to set up, basically. So I thought, plug it into the computer, run a program, it's all set up to go. My old printer that I had, it'd been from Windows 95 days, I think, so it was really old. So this new printer, newfangled wireless, does all the singing, what's names. And there's 2 instruction booklets that came with this printer. Both of them the size of a New Testament. So, setup book 1 is your quick start. I'm thinking, quick start? So, quick start. The second book is general
German
operation. Well, each book, it had lots of pictures, really easy to follow for me. I'm not saying. So, very easy to follow. There was 1 line of text in English, German, French and Italian. Just literally 1 line on each page, followed by all these pictures. Well, the first page was how to take it out of the box and how to take all the plastic and purple. So anyway, so we got it all out of the box. So I started reading, unusually for a bloke, I decided I would read through the magazine, the first booklet. But you had to cross-reference between the 2 all the time, so it was quite challenging because you're reading 2 books at the same time.
We can't multitask, man.
No, well I couldn't do it. So anyway, so we're there doing it. So it's all going, and I'm thinking, right, I've got to do this. And then I plugged it all in to the computer, and then it says, warning, big warning sign, to set up wirelessly. Do not set it up by plugging it in. For some reason, certain functions won't work. So I unplug it all again, but I've made the fatal mistake now that I've already plugged it in, so the computer's so that's all going one way. So I unplug it, and the computer's going beep, beep, and doing all this malarkey. So my computer doesn't have a wireless facility on it, so I've set it up on the phone now. So I've downloaded this little HP123.com program, and
Yeah.
well, I was when Katie Price appeared.
No, Mum wasn't in setting it up.
No, she was down with her. When Katie Price appeared on this video, I thought this is rather strange for a video. So we get it going. I got this downloaded. First thing I had to do, scroll down the list, select your printer. And there's like thousands on there. So it was all in numerical order. And I think mine's something like HP2800E or something along those lines. HP2800, HP280Z. E wasn't there. So what do now? It's not there. So I googled. I did the old Google trip. And
He
people
said your
saying-
printer died 3 weeks ago.
and it said, this is a really difficult printer to set up. Oh, no.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
I'm not
So-
alone.
So we just continued with this, and I typed it in manually and it came up, and it started, and it all seemed to work. But I was faffing about, researching it, Googling it, and doing all sorts of bits and pieces. It took me an hour and a half to set this printer up. And somebody who knew what we're doing, 10-15 minutes, it would have been all up and running. So for me, my old love spuds is technology, and they don't sort of deal with old people properly. It just doesn't, the two don't go
Now we
together.
go down the library and print it all out because he's throwing the printer out the window.
Makes it a little doors.
It's like technology when you go to order McDonald's, isn't it?
Have you ordered on the app today? Oh, fucking no, that's why I'm a drive-through. Why would I do that?
I always do it to get the points.
Well,
So
yeah,
when I'm
points.
broke at the end of the month, I can get
Free
free.
food.
I find that, you see, I get in a mess. Amelia, our granddaughter, Liam's daughter, she could say, Grandad, this is what you do, and it's all done. However, she did forget the chips last week, so I wouldn't have done that. But I just find it, and I go, but
In the microwave.
Get in. No wonder she's got a tan.
have you noticed?
No wonder she looks like a roast turkey. Fucking hell. Who's you blaming me?
I used to love the days of going to McDonald's, you could see the lady behind the counter. I want a Big Mac, I want fries, I want a coffee. Dead simple. Go over there, wait for your number, collect it. Now it's like, come to pay, your card gets rejected, the order go, you hit the wrong button, it all goes back to the beginning, and you end up with somebody else's order. It's just a mess.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I prefer the old McDonald's where the food was on the racks, they just grabbed it, put it in a bag. chopped up.
It was actually
Yeah.
fast food, and you
Yeah.
were fighting for your life. Fucking delivery
Now
drivers.
you've got to knock out Ubers.
I mean,
Just
some-
see.
there's a couple of Mackies I've been to now where it's quite clever what they've done. They've made a separate
Little side building.
a room
Yes.
basically for all the delivery drivers. But then they've not actually really got the extra staff to separately work.
So they just
that.
leave
No,
them there.
Still
They
the
go
same
in
like a
kitchen,
pen.
still the same thing. It's just a divider, so they can sit there, we can sit here. We're still going to wait 50 years for the food now, which is fine because it's full of God knows what. But
It'll still look the same in 50 years' time.
But yeah, I'll tell you what though, I did have a bit of a mare with technology yesterday actually. I was really starting to lose my rag with it. So I went and saw my granny's neighbours for the first time since her funeral actually. It was really nice catching up with them, and apparently the people have moved in, a really, really lovely garden is exactly the same. I had a bit of a nosy out back garden. And like, they're even using the same patio furniture. I was like, oh.
How close a look did you have at this garden?
Well, funny thing is, so when my granny was still living, I had a fence put in with this neighbour that was just really low, so they could talk over the fence, because her neighbour's in a wheelchair. And there was even a gate for them just to come into each other's gardens freely. I mean, their dogs used to come into Granny's all the time for a treat. And so I was having a bit of a nosy. The only thing that really had changed was they put an extension on the back, but it was still nice, and it looked exactly the same. It was really, really surreal. But while we were there, like, oh, can you just take a look at our, see if we can find the CCTV app on our, because I've had a new TV and I can't find it now. It used to show up, but it's gone. And you know, there for a good while looking through this booklet, and I'm faffing around with the box on the TV, everything. I thought, what the fuck is wrong with it? It's just flashing at me. Like, but it's not turning on or off, like, it's just flashing. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on with it? So if I move out the whole thing, I'm going, hang on, what the fuck's this? Turns out, whoever plugged it into their new TV has found a random plug that I think it looked like it was for like the base of a landline. It looked like
Jammed it in.
Well, no, it was the same size, so I can understand the confusion. But it's like, so it was getting power, just not enough, which is why it was flashing. So it wasn't even enough to turn it on or off, but it was enough to set off this little light. I'm like, because there's this one dangling off the massive box that has the name of the CCTV. I'm like, hang on, let me just. There we go! But after about an hour and a half of trying to work out what was going on, we were clicking every single button on the remote, we're flicking through every app that you can possibly download, Google's open, and there's like no signal, so it's taking 3 years to load.
This is the thing though, isn't it? And like I was saying with technology, it just seems so complicated now. And yet youngsters can do it, they just do it. How have you done that? I don't know, I've just done it, because they just seem to have it inbuilt into them, whereas as we get older, it's advancing. I mean, I can remember when I was younger, the most technical thing that you did at home was tune the telly in, and that took a little bit of doing sometimes. But then, computers came along, and Leon will probably remember when I used to record the weather forecast at home, we had some software that tended to crash every so often. And it used to forecast. So I'd be recording the weather forecast, and then every so often it would freeze up. So
was it cold out?
It was.
Yes. I was going to say that.
So I'd be going, tomorrow is going to be a sunny day, low cloud, top temperature 12 degrees Celsius, and then it would freeze up. So you would then hear me with a lot of choice words, and occasions the keyboard. In fact, Liam actually bought me a new keyboard for Christmas.
We went through quite a lot as a child. I remember keyboards
sing out the window.
Just said a bastard keyboard god. Liam, go another one, please. Yeah, I'll bring one down, Dad. It's on the way.
So although we were talking about little issues that I've gone through in the past. The calmest person can have those little moments, and I every so often I do have those moments, particularly with technology. That's probably the big thing that gets me. So that's my.
That's a brilliant one. That's
a
brilliant one.
That's a good one, actually.
I think and it's right, because I mean I'm quite techno savvy to an extent, but I find myself less patient these days doing stuff than I used to have.
Yeah.
And I'm the same. I mean, I was sat at home yesterday and I was helping the wife with some stuff on the laptop, and you do the click thing, and it just like it's not going to make it work any quicker, but I'm going to keep clicking. I'm sat down, I could feel the rage. I'm like, stop clicking the fucking buttons. It's not going to do anything. Come around and I'm like, right, you have to turn that off, turn it on. Why? Because you've frozen it up now. Whereas before I'd have been like, just try to switch it off, switch it on again. I'm like, turn the fucking computer off.
Just cut the plug.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of like playing on the PlayStation 2 as a kid, and like the disc would be scratched to shit, and it's like it was always a gamble whether it would work or not. So you put it in like after going
really slowly,
right on there, rub it on your t-shirt, put it in, and you'd turn and look away and pretend you didn't care. Because if you cared, it wouldn't work.
I'm going to manifest, this is going to work for me.
But if you turn away and pretend you're not thinking about it, oh look, it works.
Technology is a bastard. I have a card machine at work that we use to pay for our breakfasts, and the poor woman every morning has to walk a marathon to the other end of the warehouse to get a signal. So she has to take my card, yeah, no worries. She goes, oh, it's not working. Go and walk down. I said, I'm not fucking, it's my breakfast time. I get a 20-minute break, love. I'm swinging it like a knob.
You don't want to swing it that hard.
I wish.
How tall are the blokes you're seeing?
Gary Barlow's son. I knew I'd seen him before.
Yes.
Fucking hell, I went, Jesus Christ, son. Put it away. Fucking hit me in the face here. But no, she's lost about 5 stone, bless her. She don't fucking stop running. I hate technology.
We know.
Now I've got to try and get the emails up. So bear with.
Jesus.
Talk among yourselves.
This could take some time.
I've done it, look. See? I
Have
have the app open.
What, do you screenshots and use it as a
I
background?
think,
Yes.
I think Carl would read it in a nice radio tone for us.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh!
Yes.
There you go, Dad.
No pressure.
Mental Mailbox.
Radio. I've got my glasses actually, because I had a thing. I have to put my glasses on. Excuse me one moment.
Alright, Deirdre.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Deirdre
I mean,
Barlow, look at
you've
that.
taken yours off, you know.
I can see that. Right, here we go.
Right, because we sat closer together.
Let me have a little look then. This is our mental mailbox then, from Anon, so we won't mention any names. And the message goes as follows. I feel my employer doesn't take mental health serious in my workplace. How would you approach them to take it more serious? And is there anything I can do to support colleagues?
Well, that's a good one.
Good
I like
question.
that.
I'd say call him a cunt, but that might lose your job. So,
I think
that's a good one. I feel like that's something a lot of people can relate to.
Yeah.
Because it is something that, even though it's not new, so to speak, the awareness of it is new. And a lot of people are still trying to figure out how they can deal with that. And it's recognising it, I think, as an actual issue, as if you were physically sick. It's just like that. You need to treat it that way. So if you need time off, for a bone to heal, sometimes you need that time for your mind to heal.
Yeah.
But employers, for some reason, a lot of them don't see that, or they have a hard time understanding it because maybe they've not experienced it.
Yeah.
Or they've dealt with it in a different way. And it's a really tough one, because lots
I
of
think
employers are...
for me, it's about being honest with your employer, being honest with your boss, and saying, look, this is what I'm going through, this is what I'm feeling, so I'm not going to be at the top of my game, I'm not going to be the best performing colleague, I'm not going to be great because I'm feeling like shit. And if you're not honest with them and you sugarcoat it and go, yeah, I'm fine, but then they'll realise the dip in your performance, they'll soon pick you up for it.
Oh,
They'll also go, well, you're not hitting your targets. Why?
Is that already
Because
told you?
because I now feel like shit, and I've told you, oh well, you can go on the app and you can do this and that. So, yeah, I don't need an app. I need someone to talk to.
Yeah, sometimes it's just your employer being aware, I find, can help a lot. So I know many moons ago, I say many moons ago, back in 2019, I used to work at the Cathedral in Cov as a personal assistant of all things. But my boss, the Dean of the Cathedral,
To God.
He was, imagine that. It was brilliant. I remember I was it was my first sort of time knowingly struggling with anxiety, and I sat down with him and I said, look, I don't know why, but I'm really struggling, and I feel like absolute, I can swear, I thought I have to show some respect,
You are in the cathedral.
Exactly. I'm just being really rubbish, and I don't know why. And he was like, okay, what can we do? Do you want to see if we can work maybe some reduced hours in, like try and find a way to lighten your work? And I was like, bloody hell, I just wanted you to know. But it was straight away, they were offering solutions. And I think more employers obviously need to be like that.
Yeah.
It's trying to find that middle ground, say, right, okay, where can we compromise here? What's going to keep you coming in? Because obviously they need you to come in because they need the people to do the work. But they need to make sure that you still come in and can do it well.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, is a reduced workload going to help? If you're just going to get bored and make you feel worse, maybe that's not the solution. Okay, reduced hours. Does more time at home make you feel better? Or even just, okay, do you want to move teams? Or do you want to go sit over there instead of here? Just something as small as that, I feel, can help.
A little change.
Yeah.
If employers can recognise that and trial things with their employees, I think we'll be making a massive difference in the workplace there.
I think it's about working with the colleagues as well. I think, my work now is, since talking about Back and Forth and what we do, they've given me time. If a member of staff struggling to go, oh, Liam's the founder of a charity, go and speak to him. So I'll take them upstairs. Take that how you will, but we'll go for coffee and they'll go, I'm struggling. But it's nice that there's someone in the place of work to go, Liam's in, I'll go and pick his brain. I think mental health first aiders are vital in any company.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's two schools of thought, isn't there? Companies have to legally do something if somebody comes to them with a mental health issue, as is with any other illness. I think the biggest problem is that there's a lot of box ticking that goes on, where, we do this, that and the other. You say it or you put it down on paper as one thing, and what you actually carry out and do is a completely different thing. And then, again, in terms of the size of the organisation, if you've got a massive organisation, you can afford to have a few people off. And maybe then there's a little bit more sort of freedom to do what you want. If you've got somebody that's self-employed who's got somebody working for them that's struggling, all of a sudden half your workforce is gone, then it's a little bit more difficult to deal with. But at the same time, why should people be treated differently on where they work? And that's another thing that we need to sort of address. Like you say, there has to be stuff done. If you have a broken leg, you get 6 weeks off. If you're dealing with a a broken heart or something along those lines, why shouldn't you have
And
the
then
same
it's
amount
that
of time off all
age-old
along?
saying for the person that is suffering. I mean, I noticed it in my old job when I was off. They go, "Oh, you're fine. You look fine to me." I said,
Yeah.
I might look fine,
Yeah.
but you don't know what's going on up top.
It's the duck on the pond.
It's when you've got a broken leg,
Yeah.
they can see you've got a physical
Yeah.
issue, that you broke your leg. You're
Yeah.
walking around town or going on nice days out and your pictures are on Facebook, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But in your head, you're dying on your ass.
Yeah. The amount of conversations I've had with people are like, I'm off work at the minute, I feel really down, but I want to go away and have a break.
Do
Go and
it.
have a break. Yeah, but what if they see me?
So what?
So go to your GP. Your GP will tell you, go and take some time out.
Yeah.
Do what you need
Yeah.
to do to put your head back on
Yeah.
on your shoulders. Go and do it.
I say it's not like you've called in saying, "Oh, I've got food poisoning," and then next thing you know, you're showing them that you're an all-you-can-eat buffet.
Yeah. Oh, I've broken my leg going down the gym.
In a way, it's like it's your physiotherapy for your mind.
Absolutely it is.
It's your recovery. It's how you're coping with it. So for me, whether it'll be a nice day out. So okay, yeah, I went to London. I went to Bicester Village. I did all these little day trips. And some people will go, "Oh,
Towers.
fucking hell! Oh
Chemical
yeah,
cars wasn't working.
oh fucking hell!"
Don't say much.
But all these little things that, you know, if people I know at work, if they don't quite understand it, they'll go, "Well, hang on, he's getting all this time off, he's getting paid, but he's going to all these places and not getting shit for it."
Yeah.
So, because that's equivalent to me taking my painkillers every 2 hours. Like,
Yeah.
it's helping me recover so I can get to a point of coming back.
Yeah. I think, like Liam touched on it, the mental health first aid, I think, is brilliant. Even if you don't have one at work, look into getting yourself trained. I mean, I know Liam and I are doing courses at the minute. You can get free online courses to get yourself the basic level 2 qualification in it. Then it gives your employers an extra option, because then if they're dealing with somebody, and flag it to them that I'm doing this course, I've now got this qualification. It helps them out a little bit. They can signpost them to you, or you can pick up on somebody else that's not doing so well, and you can have that conversation. And at the same time, you then understand why they need that time away and why they're going off on their breaks when they're off work. It's all about the understanding, isn't it, and the education around it, rather than, you're not going to be able to physically mend them or do anything, but you can have some understanding of what they're going through. And
You can be that advocate in the workplace.
Yes.
If you need them to go to a meeting, "Oh, Liam's in, can you please sit with me, I'm struggling."
yeah,
And
it's
you
just-
can be their voice. If
Yeah.
they don't feel confident enough, you can go, "Hang on,
it's
they've
even
get
as
me
simple
authorised,
as
I'm going to talk."
sending them, or if you know of like talking therapies, for example, you can do referrals online.
Yeah.
You can pass that on to somebody else that's struggling with it. You can sit there and do it with them on the computer in front of them. It's just that little bit of
Guidance.
support. Yeah.
Exactly, and that sort of links in then with the, you know, how can I help a colleague at work? If you're that mental health first aider, brilliant. Again, you'd be their advocate. You're there to support them. But then it also goes back to that ask twice.
Yep.
So when you do pass them in the corridor, or if you sat opposite them at a desk, just say, "Oh, you doing all right?" And they go, "Yeah." So, "You sure?" "Ah, no, actually."
Yeah.
That's how you can help them, because then that might be able to, I say stop them, but it might prevent them needing to take time off. And then they're not going to, you know, have all the stress of having to deal with their manager saying, "Well, why do you need it off?"
Yeah.
And then having to go through that rigmarole of repeating themselves to so many different people, which is a stress in itself.
Barbara, the doctor surgeon.
Oh, fucking
Yeah.
Barbara.
There must be so many companies, though, that don't offer anything, don't give any support. They just want people in, looking at it from Mr. Bossman. They want people in, doesn't matter whether they're feeling poorly, a physical ailment, a mental illness ailment, they just want people in to cover the shift. And it would be so nice, wouldn't it, if more companies, a little bit like what you're doing at your company, if more companies took that on board.
Yeah.
And I saw a Facebook post the other day from an old work colleague, and they'd had lots of time off work, various things, 2 or 3 days here, 2 or 3 days there, various illnesses and symptoms. What they were really suffering was, and it was a person that we obviously can't mention names, I won't mention names or companies' names. It's somebody I knew quite well, who would have been the last person you would have thought would have had any issues.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fast working, bang, 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 always bang on the money. And rather than the company actually sort of helping, they made it really difficult to the point that they actually left.
Yeah.
And somebody posted and reposted onto that, what the company should have done is picked up on the fact that this person normally doesn't have lots of time off. Is there something going on behind the scenes as to why they are? And if they'd have asked that question, that could have been the key moment when they could have opened up, and it would have worked out better for both parties.
Yeah. So, I mean, the problem is companies get rid of you and you're just a number, and that's and or get rid of you because there's another 10 people waiting in line to come and take your position, and it's horrendous. But that's.
I've had another email while we've been doing this.
Jesus.
And it's from Mum.
Oh dear. Hang on, how long have
Did
we
she
been in
hear
here?
She's just simply said, why is your dad such a bellend?
Because she knows that I am.
P.S. What's he talking about with Katie Price?
Well, I didn't want to say that bit.
Just saying, if he thinks it's a secret, why did he print it out?
I've just found the photo under the bed from the printer that took an hour to set up.
There's 700 copies of it.
We ran out of ink.
I can actually share you a very quick, if I may, if we've got time, I can share you a very quick story here. Now, when me and Debbie first got together, okay, and we're not going to go into details. When we first got together, and she moved, we were the first sort of that era where people lived together. Gosh, before they got married. So
No, in sin. Lived in sin.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So there she moved. So and she was like getting stuff done in the house, and she was having a bit of a tidy up. And I came home from work one evening, and she said, I've been tidying up the bedroom. She's been tidying everything up. I said, oh, okay. She said, I've got a box of books, magazines. She said, I found them under the bed. And I said, oh, I said that's
not mine.
I said that's my boss's monthly magazine. Because I'm a bit of a bus anorak as well, doing the thing. And she said, oh, I didn't like to have a look in the box in case it was anything that you didn't want me to see. I said, no, I said, it's my bus monthly magazine. So I opened it to prove a point because she was adamant that it was going to be obviously something else.
It's the wrong box.
Got it!
Yeah, sticky socks.
So I opened up the box and she was actually quite disappointed to find that the first episode was going through the 1970s nationalisation of the British Bus Company. She would have preferred me to have had boxes of Katie Price. So there we are. That's what I can tell.
And on that note,
I think that's it.
see you next Thursday.
See you next Thursday. Thank you, Cole.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
I feel like we're going to see you next Thursday in Radio Voice.
Hang on a moment, just let me get. See you next Thursday.
Oh, you see, that's